Hey guys, welcome back. This is immigration attorney Marcus Wabshall with Veritas Immigration Law in Southern Florida. In this video, I want to talk specifically about the Customs and Border Protection. This is the agency within the Department of Homeland Security that basically is at the ports of entry around the United States, right? So anytime you're coming into the United States, whether it's on an airplane, on a ship, or on land in a car, the Customs and Border Protection are the agents who you're probably going to encounter and who are going to be the ones to make a decision to let you into the United States or not. And I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you've been through an immigration process on your own, or maybe you're currently going through one right now, and you've probably encountered these officers, once or multiple times in the past. And it can always be a really intimidating experience because these guys can be they can be kind of scary. They can be intimidating. Sometimes they ask you a lot of detailed questions before they decide whether or not to let you into the United States. And that encounter can always be very high risk, okay? Depending on what your situation is, what your immigration status is, those encounters are really important and they can always have an effect on your eligibility or your admissibility into the United States. So what I want to do in this video is I want to watch some live footage of some real border encounters that people in various immigration statuses have with Customs and Border Protection officers to give you an idea of what these encounters are like, what to expect, and how people are treated and the types of questions they get asked, before someone will be allowed to come into the United States. One thing that you want to keep in mind when you're coming into the United States is at the border, at the ports of entry, okay, at an airport, at a land entrance in your car, or on a ship, right? If you're coming in on a cruise ship or a boat or whatever, it doesn't matter. Or even if you're coming in on like a private jet, everybody has to pass through customs and everybody has to encounter one of these CBP officers, or they're supposed to, right? And at any location where you're coming into the United States at the border, there's always going to be a reduced expectation of privacy. There's fewer Fourth Amendment protections. The same rules, or the general rules of the Fourth Amendment, just don't apply at the border, right? The Supreme Court has consistently upheld that there's, a reduced expectation of privacy at the ports of entry. Officers have broader search and seizure authority. They can search you without probable cause, without a warrant, without reasonable suspicion. They're under no obligation to even let you into the United States. So they have very broad authority at the border to conduct searches and like really intense searches. There are limits, but they have very broad authority to search, to question, to detain. And so watching these videos, these live videos that we're going to jump into in just a minute, will give everybody a really good idea of what to expect. And we can also kind of break it down in real time and analyze what's going on to help you understand the importance of these encounters and the potential effects they can have on your overall admissibility and your immigration journey in the United States. Okay. So we're going to jump into the video and we'll just walk through each situation in real time as it's happening. All right, here we go.
Today, Customs and Border Protection pulls aside 3 American residents returning from Canada with their Canadian brother-in-law.
Drove your vehicle off because it's picking up the size.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you're coming.
Okay, so we are at the Canadian border. This is a land, port of entry by land. So this is not an airport. This is people driving into the United States from the north, from Canada. And we've got, I think she said, 2 U.S. citizens. And they're with their brother-in-law, who I think is probably this guy in the middle, who is Canadian.
The U.S.
Yes.
For we, but yes, 3 of the travelers who have status in the U.S. and they're attempting to return home to Virginia.
But unlike his relatives, the Canadian needs permission to enter.
When did you immigrate to Canada?
2001.
What have you been doing in Canada since you immigrated?
I was working in a different job.
After the last 15 years, you haven't done anything in
Big.
the wife or still been learning ties to get
No, they're during but the second.
fear and having your plans to immigrate and his husband.
Only been 2 children.
But not sure.
And I'm not tourism.
There's no return ticket for the Canadian citizen. He likely will purchase a Greyhound bus ticket sometime in the future. The keys to the vehicle are...
On the dead.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a seat. He doesn't have it.
Okay, so I don't know if you could hear that, but the officer here was just questioning the non-American, the traveler, which is common because the officer needs to make sure they're screening primarily for what's called immigrant intent, where they want to ensure that the person who's immigrating to the United States is coming as a true visitor, that they're not going to overstay their time or come to the U.S. and just like stay forever, right? They want to make sure that they don't have immigrant intent. Based on the questions that she was asking, it's a little bit questionable what his intent is at this point, because he basically just said he's been in Canada for 15 years and he's worked a lot of different jobs. He hasn't had like one solid job. She said he doesn't have a return ticket, which is, he's coming by car, so I don't know. It's not like he would have a return flight, I guess, but still he's not showing any intent to come back to Canada or any kind of objective evidence that he's, returning to Canada. The key thing, and this is true when you're coming into the United States at a port of entry like this, or when you're applying for a visa, like a visitor visa, the Customs and Border Protection officer, just like a consular officer in the American embassy, is looking to make sure that you have strong ties to your home country, okay? That you have something that's going to bring you back home. You've got kids in school, you've got a job, you've got property, you've got, some substance that's going to bring you back, require you to come back to your home country. And this guy, based on that really short interaction, didn't do a great job of convincing this officer that he's going to come back to Canada. Doesn't have a job, doesn't, seem to have any family. He didn't demonstrate the ties that he needs to in like that very short interview, right? That was just like 1 minute. You really have a short amount of time to make a good case for yourself at these interviews, and he did not do a great job.
Residents in Canada, so that's all very concerning. We're looking to find more concrete proof that he is a true visitor to the States and will be returning to Canada.
Yep. That's right. So now they're searching the car, which is fine, right? Because like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is very common. CBP can search your car without reasonable suspicion. They can like really tear apart your car. They can even like dismantle your gas tank, I think, was like one of the Supreme Court cases that was found to be reasonable. They can really like open up your personal property, your car, and just like ransack through it and like destroy your car almost, to search and make sure that there's no national security threats. So here they pulled the car into the inspection and they're just going through it to look to see if there's anything that could support a decision one way or the other to let this guy into the United States.
We found deposit and withdrawal slips from the Canadian citizen. We took $100,000 in December. Dollar figures ranging from on average $10,000 to $100,000.
Without easy.
$100,000 deposit to Habib yesterday. The most concerning piece of information was a deposit in Pakistan for $100,000. We have concern that there's illegitimate money movement. It's definitely something that raises suspicion. Found like a flu.
That's not good. So not sure if you guys could hear that or not, but the officers found withdrawal and deposit slips from some bank. I didn't understand if it was the bank or if it was the name of the gentleman. But the withdrawal and deposit slips had withdrawals and deposits ranging from 10 to, I think she said $100,000 or something like that. So now they're suspicious about source of funds. They're suspicious about money laundering, wire fraud, I don't know, some kind of illegitimate, source of funds that's going on.
At Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. Where are you coming from?
Okay, so now we're at the airport.
The afternoon rush begins.
See your luggage, just put it over here.
But an unexpected trip to secondary inspection may mean lost time for this transiting Swiss businessman.
I have to fly to a thumb.
So this guy is already in what's called secondary inspection, which means he's gotten off the plane, he's gone through the passport control, and he spoke to an initial CBP officer who referred him to secondary inspection, and now he's getting interrogated a little bit more thoroughly. Not sure what triggered it, but we'll find out.
He was just there for a regular baggage exam. These are your bags there?
Regular baggage.
And you can just
exam.
put the backpack on here too. Everything is yours there?
Yes.
Did you pack everything yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Are you bringing any food with you today?
no.
Commercial merchandise?
I have just some gifts.
What kind of gift?
A watch.
One watch?
Nine.
9 watches?
The value is about
Nice.
$800.
$800 each?
No. Sweet.
$800 total?
Total, yes.
All right. Do you have any receipts for those watches at all?
Here with me? No. Said I don't know.
Yeah. Now, $800, that sounds a little far-fetched. I mean, it's a Swiss-made watch. These are pretty nice watches here.
Everything from Switzerland is, and another, I'm joking. I can almost Swiss watch.
We have no receipts with you.
No.
Is that correct, or
Yes.
Hang on a second, all right? Did a little further research to see what the actual watches were. I got some good news and some bad news.
So I'm not sure what the issue is at this point. So you do have to, I'm not sure what the issue is right now for this guy, but if you've had experience with international travel, whether you're coming into the U.S. or to another country, they're almost always the customs is always going to have you like fill out a form, right? That's like a declaration of how much cash you're bringing in. If you're bringing in, goods or items, or like the officer said, commercial merchandise, you need to declare that on the CBP form. I forget the name of it, but usually you do it on the plane. In some airports that I've been to, you can do it like on your cell phone. But a lot of times you just fill out the paper form and you hand it to the customs person when you arrive. So maybe there's an issue with his customs declaration form. I'm not sure. We'll find out.
At the Blue Water Bridge crossing in Port Huron, officers pull aside a pair of Americans who took a wrong turn in a rented vehicle.
2 young men didn't want to go to Canada. They were trying to...
Okay, I don't know if you heard that little introduction, but so now we're in Michigan at the Canadian border, and CBP has stopped 2 Americans who accidentally went through the border crossing. Sometimes that happens. I've been up in Detroit, and it can be confusing. It's really easy to like accidentally take the wrong exit and go through the border crossing. It sounds like that's what these guys did. But let me just stop there for a second, because I've heard so many like hysterical stories, and this is like an apolitical YouTube channel, all right? I'm not here to be political. I'm not here to hate one political party or another, or to love one or the other. I'm just a lawyer, and I'm here to help people navigate the immigration system. But we've heard a lot of stories about a U.S. citizen who got detained, or a green card holder who got detained. Well, sometimes that just happens because you did something wrong, or CBP just needs to stop you to make sure that you're not a criminal, or you're not doing something, that you shouldn't be doing. So these guys just sounds like they just made a mistake by, going through the wrong exit, and CBP just stopped them, which I would expect them to do. And now they're probably going to get searched.
And we detained them while we were searching the vehicle.
But it's searching the car.
What?
Is that a dog?
The canine alerts to the passenger side.
Lord, so the canine got triggered, startling the surge.
Right there.
Right underneath here. Yeah.
Well, there's probably drugs.
Found what appears to be narcotics.
Yep.
We handed it off to another officer who was doing the testing while we looked for anything else suspicious.
Like just
mean, I-
feel underneath. No,
I just figured because it's on the show that there was something, you know, they wouldn't put it on the show if there was nothing to see. So I just assumed that there was going to be drugs.
We care. You can feel that padding. I've never seen a car with that much. We were able to see some stapling on this floorboard. So that's kind of out of the ordinary. I think we should x-ray it. I don't even agree.
Any X-ray at bar.
We took it to x-ray it and see if anything that we couldn't
Wow.
see with our own eyes.
That's crazy. I've never seen that before.
Wow.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers are trained to expect the unexpected.
there's blood all over it.
At Detroit Metro Airport,
So we have to take these because they look like they have insects.
And now we're in Detroit at the airport.
cultural specialists seize illegal plants of a flight from the Middle East.
Frozen grape leaves. They have to be so dry that they crunch.
And evidence of insect damage, possible plant release.
The passengers are allowed forward, but officers will check for stowaways.
The overall job of agriculture specialists is to prevent the introduction of invasive species into the country. Maramia is a dried plant product. It smells a lot like sage. It's related to sage.
I'll be honest with you, I did not know that there were agricultural specialists at the ports of entry like this. That's new to me. I didn't know that.
We're looking for what they call sage apples made by a type of wasp called a cynipid wasp. Ah, okay, here we go. That shouldn't be there. That's not a fruit. That's not a seed. Try to pull it open. Okay. And what just fell out right there? That's a dead adult. And that shows you the scale of how small these insects are. It's a very, very tiny wasp.
But size
Wasp.
doesn't matter to Mother Nature.
We did find several prohibited products, and many of them were infested with invasive species. Any day that we can come in here and prevent the introduction of any of these pests
Wow.
is a good day for us.
I don't want that in here.
At Chicago's O'Hare International Airport,
$800 each.
Oh,
$800 total.
hold it, yes.
an officer has no time for the Swiss Traveler's Watch declaration.
Did a little further research to see what the actual watch is worth. I got some good news and some bad news. Good news is I've pretty much found a watch.
Yes?
These are $500 watches almost. I mean, you're talking about times 9, 9 times 4.
Yeah, but is it because, maybe, yeah.
You're talking about $3,600 worth of watches if I go on the low end here. I'm going to say this to you, and this is the truth.
Yeah.
The burden of the proof falls on you. I don't have to sit there and try to see how much these watches are
You might be,
to convince me. You did not declare these watches when you went.
I was just going to say, you might be wondering what the big deal is here. What's the big deal about bringing in some watches from Switzerland? Seems like a nice guy. He's just bringing in some watches. The problem, it seems, that is he didn't declare them properly. So I'm guessing he didn't buy them at the duty free because they seem like they're expensive watches. So that means that he could be subjected to fines if he didn't declare them properly. Or they could even, I mean, believe it or not, CBP could actually seize the items. They could just take them if they were not declared. So we'll see what happens.
PC.
Yes.
Like, for example, there's rules about, there's a difference between bringing in a gift, like something that's like duty free, or something that's like merchandise, like commercial merchandise. In the earlier clip, we heard the border officer ask him, do you have any commercial merchandise? Well, that's kind of a term of, a legal term of art. And the guy said, no, just gifts. So in his mind, these are just gifts. But to the officer, this is not a gift. This is commercial merchandise. that he failed to declare. So maybe they're going to seize it, or maybe they're going to, give him a hefty fine.
There's
They were talking about
commercial merchandise, all that. Business commercial.
merchandise.
Yes, you have 9.
The gift.
I don't think you understood exactly what the actual definition of a gift versus commercial merchandise was.
So I'm going to be nice to you.
Yes.
Okay. Considering the fact, I'm going to price them at $400. I'm going to give you the low end there.
Yeah.
Times 9 is $3,600, right?
Yeah.
But it's $54.09. He could have paid a lot higher than that, and he might not even left with his watch. You could have just seized them right there for failed to declare.
So he got fined $54.
Over there in the cashier's window.
Yellow.
We make mistakes, fine. We give them a benefit of the doubt. We just want them to declare and then pay the duty to the government, and then they're on their way. That's it.
I bet was stressed.
At the Rainbow Bridge Crossing.
By the way, that shouldn't affect any kind of like admissibility or his eligibility in terms of coming into the U.S. He just got fined for making a mistake on his declaration form.
Niagara Falls, New York.
And you're coming into the U.S.
Yes.
for a week.
Customs and Border Protection has questions for a Canadian attempting to enter the U.S. with 3 of his American family members.
The wife or 12 or any ties to get
No, they're during participation.
fair and half.
Okay, did you hear that? She said something about, is your family in Canada? And he said, oh no, they're in Pakistan.
We're looking to find more concrete proof that he is a true visitor to the States and will be returning to Canada.
A vehicle search turns up financial documents.
So if they're in Pakistan, I'm guessing he's a Pakistani citizen as well as a Canadian citizen.
Yes.
We found deposit and withdrawal slips from the Canadian citizen. He withdrew $100,000 in September. Most concerning piece of information was a deposit from a Habib bank in Pakistan for $100,000. We have concern that there's illegitimate money movement.
How did the Canadian guy say understand?
There could be or there could not be. So he withdrew or deposited $100,000 from a Pakistani bank account into maybe a Canadian bank account. Or he transferred it from Pakistan to Canada and then withdrew $100,000 of cash. Presumably, I don't know if he's got it with him. He's coming into the United States with that.
Approximately a week, but he doesn't have any return travel loss.
It's definitely more than I think a week's worth of clothes. There's like 12 pairs of jeans.
And 4 Pakistani passports.
They're analyzing his baggage. They're saying, oh, he's got 12 pairs of jeans. That seems like more than you would need for a week-long vacation, blah, blah, blah.
I'm concerned none of the individuals presented their Pakistani passports to the primary officer. Let's just grab everything, we'll take it in. We're finding the Pakistani passports. We're finding receipts for a large dollar amount banking happening in Pakistan, like literally 3 days ago. And he flew back into Toronto yesterday. So if they just pick him up from the airport. Yeah, and he just got stamped it on his Canadian passport. He's presenting this Canadian document to us, but in reality, really, he's still living as a citizen of Pakistan.
Okay, so not sure if you could hear all that, but this guy is very unlikely that he's coming into the United States. So he just arrived from Pakistan, and he had transferred lots of money from Pakistan into Canada. They had deposit slips ranging from $10,000 up to $100,000 of withdrawals that he just took out like yesterday, or somebody took out, and which I don't know too many banks that would let you withdraw that much money. Anyways, and he also just arrived in Canada from Pakistan. Okay. So he just flew from Pakistan to Canada, withdrew a bunch of money, and now he's coming right away into the United States after just being in Canada for like 1 day. Also, he didn't present any of his Pakistani documents, only his Canadian documents. So that's why this officer is probably not going to let him come into the United States.
I mean, just we did a few trips into Iran in the last couple of years.
Oh my God.
2008.
So since he became a Canadian, so he was in Canada for 7 years, he naturalized, then he went to Iran.
He went to
That
Iran.
was kind of a red flag.
No way. There's no way he's coming in. So, yeah, the guy said they checked his travel history. with his passport, and he'd also been traveling to Iran. Not good.
In Port Huron, Michigan.
Like in Michigan.
Underneath here, yeah.
Officers discover bags of suspected narcotics in a rented vehicle driven by 2 Americans.
We detained them while we were searching the vehicle.
Look at
We
that.
took it to x-ray it and see if there's anything that we couldn't
never
see
seen that
with our
before.
own eyes.
They did
Cool.
a number of scans and came back negative.
Inside,
Negative?
officers are testing the contents of the bags.
We have what we suspect is marijuana. Right now, all we can classify it as a green leafy substance. And here comes our purple color, as you can see. So that is marijuana.
But the material in the second bag is less recognizable.
So for an unknown substance, the first thing we got to do is test if it is a narcotic or not.
It's really hard and flaky. This will test for opiates, MDMA, ecstasy, and methamphetamines.
In Michigan, 2 Americans are detained after officers discovered suspected narcotics in their rented vehicle.
Oh my God, look at that.
And here comes our purple color, as you can see. So that is marijuana.
But officers are still trying to identify what the second one is.
They're going to get busted for
We
marijuana.
have this unknown substance.
I have no clue what that is.
This to test for opiates, MDMA, ecstasy, and methamphetamines.
All right, so we're getting a purple color, which indicates opium.
We
Opiate.
gotta keep going until we do identify it.
Yes.
And if it is heroin, it will turn a greenish color. Which we have our greenish color.
Wow.
It was 1.2 grams of marijuana and 33.2 grams of heroin.
Oh,
After we found the drugs, people were interviewed, and then it was determined that they would be turned over to the local sheriff department for prosecution.
dang.
All with the other one here.
All because they made a wrong turn.
I can plug you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad they got caught, but just because they took a wrong exit.
So they'll be transported over to the St. Clair County Jail and have to see the judge probably tomorrow morning.
In New York State,
$100,000 deposit to Habib finished yesterday.
officers follow the money of a Canadian who didn't mention his Pakistani passport.
He's presenting this Canadian document to us, but in reality, really, he's still living as a citizen of Pakistan.
Yeah.
This gentleman's made a few trips into Iran in the last couple of years.
When was he in Iran?
2008.
We have concern that there's money being cleaned, laundered, and moved overseas. Money that we can't track. And if we can't track it, we can't make sure that it's being moved for legitimate reasons. So I wanted to get a little bit more information from you specifically. When was the last time you were employed?
U.S Canada. It's about 2006.
2006.
And then I went to Pakistan. I have a descent out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your business in Pakistan?
It's petrol pumps. Filling station.
How many do you own?
One.
One?
Yeah.
You said that you're married. Can you...
He hasn't worked in Canada since 2006. He lives in Pakistan. He owns a gas station.
You have children. Does she have any other citizenship? Is she
No,
U.S.? Just Pakistan. Okay. Can you
The
write down
family
your
lives in Pakistan.
first, last?
One.
One?
Yeah.
You said that you're married and you have children. Does she have any other citizenship? Is she
No,
U.S.? Just Pakistan.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you write down your wife's first, last name, her citizenship, and her date of birth, please? Why does this individual make large dollar figure deposits in a foreign bank when they're supposedly a Canadian citizen living in Canada? So the deposit that you made on the 15th in Habib Bank, was that related to your business? Okay. It's very easy to make money that's illegitimate look legitimate.
This episode has a lot on the northern border,
In New York State,
So the
but it really goes to show you that a lot of issues happen on the northern side of the U.S. border. It's not all on the southern border. This is a great episode to show that the northern border, man, there's a lot of, I mean, we just saw a whole bunch of drugs that got caught. A lot of stuff happens on the northern Canadian side of the border that really doesn't get the media attention that the southern border typically gets.
that you made on the 15th in Habib, think? Is that related to your business?
Yes, okay, so where was
Helpful.
officers want to know if this Pakistani Canadian with no ties to Canada is a legitimate U.S. visitor.
It's very easy to make money that's illegitimate look legitimate. Approximately how much time do you spend in Pakistan?
most of the time?
Most of the time.
Yeah.
And what's the purpose of this trip to the U.S.?
Just see the family because I'm coming after 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
8 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
that's all the purpose.
Okay. Everyone can come on up.
Purpose of the trip is to what?
Because I'm coming after 8 years.
8 years. How much time do you spend in Pakistan?
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
And what's the purpose of this trip to the U.S.?
Just see the family because I'm coming after 8 years.
Just
8
to see
years.
the family.
8 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, that's all the purpose.
Okay. Everyone can come on up.
I don't know.
Here are all of your documents. Let me hand them all back to you just a minute. I just want to let you know what's going on currently. Okay? At this present time, we're not going to be allowed to have you enter the U.S. My concerns are that we don't have proof that you are, in fact, a legitimate visitor to the U.S. and not an intending immigrant, and you haven't been employed in Canada since 2006. You also don't have a return ticket, so we don't have proof that you are actually planning on exiting the U.S.
Really giving sort of guarantee. Obviously, he didn't buy it and then he indicated or must take it because he saw us.
This is not negotiable. You, sir, are going back to Canada tonight.
Dang.
They
Guy flew all the way from Pakistan to Canada, and he's not being allowed into the United States.
Whatever, where we coming from, what we are doing, that's this. They're right. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm in this country almost 20 years.
All three were advised that they're admissible to the state. They've chosen to drive him back. Sorry? Here are the documents.
This was a great episode, I thought, because it showed that just how much happens at the Canadian side of the U.S. border. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, we're kind of used to thinking of the U.S. border like at the southern border with Mexico or in the oceans, you know, where the cruise ships come in or things like that. But there is a lot that happens at the Canadian border, and a lot of issues can pop up there. So this was great to see some of the common issues that are seen there and what these interactions are like. Like that Pakistani gentleman, that he like had 30 seconds to make his case to that immigration officer, and immediately she didn't like his answer. They went and they searched the car. They found the receipts. They found the withdrawal slips, the money transfers. They found his passport, and it was like game over at that point. So it's very rapid fire. He wasn't like deported or something like that. He was just being allowed to withdraw his application for admission. But any further attempts that he has to come into the United States is going to be just that much more difficult because of this experience that he had on this particular day. So all of those interactions with the Customs and Border Protection, with any, law enforcement officials at the border are just so super important and can have major impacts on your immigration journey in the United States.